Impact Wrestling. It would be easy to say, I can't. Look, guys, you guys know me. I tell you how it is. And taking away what was set up for the X Division, what was set up for the World Championship, this show had nothing on it. 100% had legitimately nothing really valuable on it. Yes, a few things were done. But when it comes down to it, we're on autopilot. Let me explain why. The first match, which was a #1 contendership for the X Division title, and supposedly, two things. One, Ace Austin was at commentary, and Ace Austin had a movie done. I don't know if this is part of Access TV or he did something else, but they mentioned it. Didn't really care that much about it because it's not something that's important when it comes to this show. Unless he's going to add it to his persona, which he didn't really sound like he did. When it came, before I talk about the match, when it came down to it on commentary, and I want to say this again, when it comes to Josh and Don Callis, throughout the night, they were very playful with each other. And the thing that I got to be honest about, I'm being honest here, the commentary for regular matches is fine. It's alright. As I said before, people may not like Josh much, and Don can be a little over-exaggerating, but when it comes down to it, it's actually a little bit more palatable than what you would get from Raw, SmackDown, even to a certain extent, AEW, for one apparent reason. They're being very playful with each other. This is the one thing that I think is the redeeming quality of the Impact commentary team of Don Callis and Josh Matthews. They are having fun. Before they weren't. They were just calling the matches and then trying to be the straight heel and straight face. Here, they're just playing with each other majority of the time. And I find that a bit more refreshing. Yes, it does take away from what they talk about in the ring. But honestly, on this situation where everything is so straight and can be a bit repetitive and dull, at least I'm hearing that they're having fun on the mic, even if it's not great fun for us. I just wanted to say that. Now, you got Trey versus Raju versus Aiden Prince versus Brent. What is it? Brent Bank, Willie Mack, and Petey Williams. You had 6 people doing a match to be the new #1 contender. Now, here's the thing that kind of surprised me. What happened to Jake Chris? Now, he did have a match later that night, and I'll talk about it in a minute. But I'm actually surprised Jake Chris is no longer involved with the X Division at all. What did I tell you guys? That Jake Chris was not much. He was not going to be anything. If he was going to be dealing with anything, it would have to be through Tessa Blanchard, because it looked like he was going to be the chance for her to get the X Division title. But as it stands, the X Division title is now off the table, because Jake Chris, unless they're going to still do as I say, and the filming has not been done yet, maybe they're filming it now, that Jake is going back after the X Division, and Tessa will go after it then, before December, because honestly, they're winding down. There's almost nothing left for them to do. This is autopilot, guys. They're giving us a little bit to do, some matches, a little bit of story. That's it for the entire year. We're legitimately at the end. So they're not going to really build much going into later December, going into January when they'll pick it up again. So we almost have nothing here. Nothing. So as this moment it is, I was actually surprised that Jake Chris did not get put into this match. But we still have time before the end of November going into December. Hopefully by the end of November going to December and early December, maybe they'll start doing that. But you never know. In the end, it was Trey who won. And then Trey's mom was involved, supposedly, if that was his real, honest to goodness mother. And then you got, and the thing that gets me, if you dropped the story of Eddie Edwards with Alyssa Edwards and Ace Austin, why is a Josh Matthews still hamming it up, talking about how does it feel to be a guy who likes to cheat? How's it like to try and take a woman away from another guy? And all this crap, unless one or two things. One, they literally have nothing for Ace Austin to do. and they're just going to have him talk a little bit, which he didn't sound good, to be honest. Ace didn't sound very good. So if they are going to have Trey and Ace Austin in a feud, because Ace is going to start messing with the so-called mom of Trey of the Rascals, where Trey legitimately is doing nothing, I don't know if it's going to be very good, because I haven't seen the Rascals do absolutely anything. Nothing for nearly 10 months to a year. I haven't seen not Trey, Wiz, or Dez do nothing individually. And they've shown almost no character other than when they get weeded up. So if this is going there, the question is going to be, how much are they going to give us? Is it going to be a tiny bit, or is this just nothing altogether? Madison Rayne versus Nicole. Nicole doesn't look bad of a wrestler. But here's the problem. What does this give us? It's just a knockout match. I just feel like there's nothing going on for the knockouts whatsoever. We're not getting anything for the frenemies of Madison Rayne and Kiera Hogan. You're not getting anything with Rosemary. She's not there right now, at least in this taping. I mean, Su Yung had one moment with Havoc, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. But essentially, what are these women doing? Just had a simple match that's not much different than what's going on with WWE. I'm sorry. There's no story. There's nothing going on. We just had a standard match. Wasn't one of the best matches I've seen Madison Rayne do. I'm sorry. It could be because Nicole was a little bit botchy, but also Madison Rayne was a bit botchy. And then with Kiera Hogan in a sling, she didn't really do that much. Maybe she distracted a little bit so Madison could get the win, but nothing else. Then you got Taya Valkyrie with the Jonna Bravo. And then you also have Jordynne Grace. Jordynne's pretty much saying, you know what? You like to duck me, huh? Why don't you finally face me? And she says, you can't just do that. And she says, look, I will take you on. I will do any match. And Johnny Bravo said, any match? And she's looking at him like, Pipsqueak, you can't do a damn thing with me. But if you both want to get in the ring, I don't mind. So supposing maybe next week, you're going to have Jordynne Grace versus Taya Valkyrie versus Jonna Bravo. Like I said to you guys before, months ago, Taya Valkyrie needed to drop that title because she's doing nothing with it. Look, I said it before and I'll say it again. I love Taya Valkyrie. I see that she's a great character. She's great in the ring. Look, I married a woman. She's that beautiful. She is beautiful. And like I said before, I've heard that she's extremely nice and sweet. I would marry her in a heartbeat. But as much as I love the woman, she needs to drop the strap. And the key of this is, it could have been done before Bound for Glory easily. Well before Bound for Glory, you could have turned it over to Havoc. Now here's Havoc versus, what was her name? Crystal Moon. That was a very one-sided match, which kind of surprised me that, look, it wasn't that Crystal Moon got offense in. It wasn't that. Havoc was a beast. She destroyed her. But I would have thought that Su Yung would come down to the ring being nice and sweet, saying hi to the people, and not doing it in the back. I think it would have been more effective for her to come out and be friendly to the crowd, being sweet and nice to the children, giving them hugs, giving them candy. I know that's kind of saying, that's a creepy woman giving candy to kids. No. But it would work because we have Su Yung incredibly innocent. Why not? Now, we still got to the end of the year. Maybe they will actually do this. It would actually be very wise that Havoc have another match, destroy another jobber, but then Su Yung comes down from the ring and she's acting nice and she has gifts for children and other people, being friendly, shaking hands. It would actually work because she's being extremely innocent. And in this situation, that backstage segment saying simply, have we really met one another before? I really feel like we do. And then when Havoc put her hand on her shoulder and she had a flashback, I felt it would have been more effective later than now. after she had been playing around in the arena as well as in the back. That's just me. You guys tell me below. Alright, let's go to Dagger versus Jake Chris, which was the best match of the night. It just was. It was the best match. And this is where I got very confused. I mean, like, wouldn't it have been better for Jake Chris to try and get the title back, the exhibition from Ace Austin? Even if he's still working with OVE, it would have made more sense. He wants to feel like he means something. And they're trying to hype him up saying, well, he's great without the exhibition. Really? No, he isn't. He isn't great without the exhibition. His emphasis was that he was a champion. And that he needed that exhibition to show how incredibly great he was on par with Sami Callihan. And I would expect Sami to be screaming for him to either get the title back, or he would have had a video segment in the back saying, you better not lose this, you better not lose if you want to disappoint me. But Sami really wants him not to win because he wants to be the only one with the title. They could have actually done a video package in the back. Didn't happen. So it felt empty. Like this really wasn't thought out when it came to Drago going with Jake Chris. And it felt like this was just filler. And I kind of feel sorry for Drago. He's a good wrestler. And I feel sorry for Jake Chris because they could actually extend him and do something with him with Ace Austin. If Ace is not having a triangle with Trey's mother and Trey, and he's not working with Eddie anymore, he's not working with Alyssa anymore, what is he doing? He's just floating. That's just me. You guys tell me below. Now, the one thing that we get on this show was that Johnny Swinger getting pissed off about Eddie was that he wanted him to pay for not wanting to work with a Johnny Swinger. So he basically took a big dump in his bag. And then we find out he dumped in the wrong bag. And he dumped in Shamrock's bag. You can see them in my face. Honestly, this makes no sense. I understand Joey Ryan still having a feud with a Shamrock. You know why? Here, let me paint you a nice picture here. After the match, Shamrock is just pissed as hell that he got tricked into grabbing some guy's junk. He couldn't move his hand and he got flipped by that guy's junk. He destroyed him by making him tap out, but he's still mad. He's still pissed. Joey Ryan hams it up and says, hey, even though I got my ass handed to him, my junk down there managed to get Shamrock to go where I wanted him to go. Or, well, my other head to do what I wanted it to do. That would have been something new. Shamrock pissed off by some guy's member, and he wants to make Joey Ryan suffer for it. Shamrock is an MMA legend. He is a UFC legend. He started his own promotion now. Bare Knuckles Fighting Promotion. I don't remember the name of it. But he's done all this, and instead of trying to make it more interesting, that Shamrock is going to do whatever it takes to make that guy understand that that member down there means nothing compared to this member right here. When I knock those teeth down your throat and it actually goes to your other head. That would have been something that could have built into the next pay-per-view in January. They could have done that. Nope. Shamrock is now working in a program where he got his bag crapped in. And he knows there was a weird smell and he grabs his bag and walks away. Really? What's the point of bringing back Shamrock? This is Autopilot, guys. There's nothing going on. And, let me see. Moose had his video package. We're pretty much saying that he has taken care of everybody. And he's going to show in the 5 elimination match. 5 guys. It's next week where they're going to have like a gauntlet. Pretty much that's a gauntlet. And he's saying he's going to beat everyone. Elgin did get a video package. You got Moose getting a video package. Who else got a video package? Rich Swann had a video package. It was fine. I'm alright with that. The only ones that didn't get one was Tessa and Dagger. And you did get one from Brian Cage, but I'll explain some about Brian Cage in a minute, which they really screwed up. The production truck screwed up lovely. And I'll explain that in a minute. But it's just Moose saying that I'm the best 5-star athlete around. I'm going to show you because I'm going to do tennis. And he pretty much terrifies and scares the professional tennis player into messing up. He's not Mr. Perfect. And if they allowed him to act like Mr. Perfect, it'll be a little better. But like I said, if you really want to do something different with Moose, make him the first Impact Wrestling legend killer. Bring back old legends and let Moose destroy them. Do the Randy Orton thing. Let it actually happen. Yes, it's a bite off of WWE, but it's a good bite off. Mick Foley put over the legend killer. So many people were putting over Randy Orton and it worked. Why not do it for Moose? Why not? Make him the new legend killer of Impact Wrestling. He doesn't have to be called the legend killer like the WWE. I am the one who the assassin of the legends. There you go. The assassin of the legends. I will assassinate every legend's legacy because I am the best 5-star athlete in Impact Wrestling. There you go. Here's your pitch, Impact Wrestling. Turn Moose into a legend killer. Call him the assassin of the legends. Now, here was the last thing we're going to talk about. The match of... Oh, no. Two. Sorry, it's two more. I think I'll talk about Eddie Edwards and Morrow Fuji right now. Eddie Edwards and Morrow Fuji versus the North. The problem I have is there was no sponsoring it on the main show. If it was on Access TV, where they have like a show that's dedicated to wrestling, fine. But you still got to double it on the main show of Impact Wrestling. You can have an Access TV channel. Well, on Access TV, you got an actual show that talks about wrestling, fine. But you really need to also put it on the show. I want to see more about Morrow Fuji. I want to see them do some talking for Morrow Fuji. Let Eddie Edwards work with Morrow Fuji. I would have liked to see a build-up of Morrow Fuji and Eddie Edwards dealing with the North. At least then we'll have something going into next year. No, nothing. So I felt empty with this match. Wasn't that it was a bad match. It just felt empty because there was no sponsoring on the main show. And if you don't have Access TV, because a lot of people don't have access, if they're still watching it on Twitch like I was, if you don't have Access TV, you're not going to see the talking of Morrow Fuji. You won't. So where are you going to get this understanding? So in the end, the North wins. I didn't think they were going to job. But it feels empty. Nothing for Morrow Fuji. If he is working for Impact on a short contract or a long contract, he feels exactly like the women on AEW from Japan. No stories, no video packages, no vignettes, nothing. I feel sorry for these Japanese wrestlers because, honestly, it's like the American wrestling companies don't understand how to sponsor them properly. Why? Now, the match that emphasizes that Impact Wrestling is on Autopilot. You got OVE, Sami Callihan and Madman Fulton versus Tessa Blanchard and Brian Cage. Now, I know it's Rick Swann, but I don't have the advertisement, unfortunately. I didn't think this was going to happen. I thought they were going to do Brian Cage because they showed a video, the image on the show showing Tessa Blanchard and Brian Cage versus Madman Fulton and Sami Callihan. Now, I thought this was going to be at the end of the show, but they made it at the 1 hour mark. Really? You think that less of Sami Callihan? That you let your world champion do the 1 hour mark instead of him closing the show? Or at least put him on another show where he could close there. No, you put him at the 1 hour mark and you make the tag belts the emphasis, which I felt was the wrong thing to do. I'm sure everyone is going to have a different opinion saying it can be done sometimes. Look, Sami has not been legitimized for months. He's looked bad along with OVE. And I've always liked Sami Callihan. He is a character that is like a sawed-off little runt that can actually fight, and fight dirty and whoop your ass. And he has not looked great. He didn't look great with Rich Swann. He didn't look great with, when it came to Tommy Dreamer much. He definitely didn't look great with Brian Cage, and he definitely didn't look great when it came to Tessa Blanchard. They made him look bad outside the ring. They let him have some of the wins in the ring, but outside the ring, he looked like a bitch. So he looked bad. And as much as many people are going to keep saying, dude, him winning on the show when they first air on Access TV is great. No, he needed a special moment. I don't blame you for thinking that he needed to be on the show and win on the show. They needed to really bring in the fans that have never seen the product. I understand that. But you got to understand that many of the people who have been watching right now realize, before the new fans of Access TV, that Sami looks very weak. And they needed to be, the fans need to be exonerated by still following Sami Callihan in OVE. And as much as you're going to say, well, it doesn't hurt him, it does. It really does. He should have won a Bound for Glory. And yes, I understand. It really did probably help Access TV to have him win on the show. The first show of Access. But if he was really strong, it wouldn't have mattered. But when he went to Access, he looked weak. So it didn't really help him that much. And now that they put him in the 1 hour main event, truly emphasizes, one, they're not really caring that much about the world title with him holding it. And two, they're on autopilot because they wouldn't have done this to him. Now, like I said, the advertisement throughout the night, at least 2 or 3 times, they showed the image of Brian Cage and Tessa Blanchard facing Madman Fulton and Sami Callihan. When the match actually happened in 1 hour main event, you got Rich Swann coming out. No, sorry, I'll take that back. You got Sami coming out with Madman Fulton on his show, with being on Madman Fulton's shoulders. Then you got Rich Swann coming out, and I'm saying, what? What happened? What happened to Brian? He got sick? He's hurt? And then you got Tessa coming out, and then they had the match, which wasn't a bad match. I didn't mind it. It was a very physical match, and it's good to see that Tessa is still working with the guys because she can. There's only 3 women that I know can handle the men okay. Havoc should be with the big guys, flat out. If she had to be the one to do it, let Havoc work with the guys. The second one can easily be Tessa because they built her so well, and she is a pretty strong woman. The only other person I can see that can work with the men would be Jordynne Grace. But Jordynne Grace wouldn't make sense unless she's working with a manager like Big Papa Pump. That would make the best sense. I wish Scott Steiner would come back and be her manager and be the daddy of Mama Pump, Big Papa Pump. But it wasn't a bad match. But you got Tessa losing. You got Rick losing. And they're getting the asses whooped until Sami and Madman Fulton, you see him botching, because Brian Cage comes out. So what the hell was that? That was such a bad snafu on Impact's part. That you got Brian Cage advertised work with Tessa. He's not. It's Rich Swann. They didn't change the graphic. Then you think Brian Cage is not showing up, but he shows up, acts a match. Then he beats everybody up in the ring. He goes into the back, and then he states, I am going to be in this match. I want to be in this match. And instead of him going to Scott Demont, well, if I'm pronouncing the guy's last name, I'm sorry. I always mispronounce people's name. I'll put it to you like this. Creative should have let him talk to management. They should have shown him going to the office of management or going in front of Scott and saying, this needs to happen. Instead of just letting it happen. Autopilot. They're just letting it happen. They're just going by the numbers. Just letting it happen instead of actually making it mean something. Was this a bad show? Not 100%. But obviously, they're on autopilot right now. They're near the end of the year. They're just putting out just enough before they go on their break, before they begin in January again. And it's sad. Bound for Glory wasn't 100% a bad show. It was okay. I liked it. Even though Sami didn't win there, it wasn't a bad show. I did like it to a certain extent. But seeing this, you're not even in December yet. And you only have the X Division set up. And you got the world title set up. Nothing for the tag titles. You got no tag teams. You're doing nothing with the women. You're having nothing. You're going to have the champion, the women's champion, being a 2-on-1 possible handicap match next week with a possible number one contender who is not even a number one contender. It feels filler. Autopilot. But this is just me. You guys tell me below. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.